Hello everybody and welcome to Let's Build live from Oak Hill Works. How are we all doing? I hope you are well. And yes, Lion as Thunderbolt is here. Not just in the slideshow, she's in the studio. 2 years, it's quite impressive, isn't it? Indeed, Javier, your baby is here. I went and I literally 10 minutes ago thought, wouldn't it be great to have a selection of big projects from the live stream? And so I had to run to the stock drawers. Literally 10 minutes ago I thought that. I just had the B1 before that. I'm very happy I changed that. Also, is my audio any better this week? I know James said it sounded a bit like I was a million miles away with the gain turned up last week. I've played with the settings since then. I'm hoping it sounds better. I mean, my microphone's giving me very weird looking lines today. And I even updated the chatbot. Sounds fine? Excellent. Oh, I'm literally getting almost zero background noise. Oh my god, the live chat's on the screen again. Can't hear any issues. Fantastic. And as I've been running back and forth to the stock box for the last 10 minutes, hydration is important, everyone. It is our... can you hear the fans in the background this week? Because to me, the microphone seems to be saying it's not picking them up or it's cancelling them out, one of the two. Which I did genuinely try to make it do, but whether it has... Don't be a mug, go buy a mug. The chatbot should be running. It might be, it's just being slow. Okay, there we go. So, yes. 2 years. I'm just saying, it feels like quite an achievement. I am very, very happy at our 2 years. But we got some toys to play with this week with the beautiful handwriting of the Linny. Lazy chatbot again and no background noise I can hear. Excellent. Because, I mean, I've done a bit of maintenance to the fan, but it's still there. So I played with some settings to hope that Streamlabs could get rid of it. And I'm assuming it has. Good evening, James. How are you? I hope you are well. Indeed, Linny handwriting is always good to see, isn't it? Linny's handwriting is fantastic. Oh, I've never seen Oak Hill written quite so nicely. Good audio this week. I'm glad to hear it, James. I played with the settings based on your feedback. So if we got good audio, then we have, of course, fixed that one. Smash that like button, you clods. I see you're there not hitting things. How dare you not be hitting things? I'm indeed well, thank you. I'm late because I was writing music for my next video. Excellent, James. I shall look forward to seeing your next video. I approve of playing with the settings. I thought you might. I hear you also approve of i3s. We've got the i3 in the background again. Because, of course, being 2 years, I thought a selection of our previous projects would be nice. Maybe a few weeks yet. So I will spend a few weeks looking forward to it. I definitely approve of i3s. I thought you would. And I'd just like to remind Hornby and Rapido, I did it first. And I expect the right crew on the footplate, Rapido. I've got the vicar and the bishop. You can too. Happy streamiversary. Thank you, James. Well, one day, Thunderbolt will get some brass nameplates. That day is not today. Remember, we have a hungry YouTube algorithm to feed with the like button abuse, and hungry as always. Exactly. And remember, if you don't like it, then the YouTube algorithm can also be fed with the dislike button. You'll be glad to know that hitting that dislike button also helps the channel. So, whichever one you want. That day is when Linny remembers to find them and post them to Carrie. Well, you know. One day, Linny. One day. So, I'll be honest, I can't remember what's in this box. I know what's in this box, because this one's labelled a bit more helpfully. And good evening, Alexander. How are you? I hope you are well. But we're going to start by opening this box. I'm going to guess a laser cut kit. I'm going to guess several laser cut kits, Alex. I'm going to point out these are no longer available. And well, with that, they've never been available before either, because these were the test builds. So, you know, that went well. I'm guessing a Brighton Open D. And a floor and underframe. Or said. They may or may not fit together. That's the fun of it, Linny. And buffer beams, or said D. And, yes, there's these bits. Did these bits go, these bits go somewhere? I'm alright, thanks. Sorry for not attending last week. I was not feeling good, but I'm back now. End stanchions. I was one. That's what I was going to suggest. I thought they might be. Excellent. Glad to hear you are feeling better, Alexander. Do not ever feel the need to say sorry for not being here. And here we have another Open D. We're seriously lacking. We still seem to have. I will get words out. More stuffs in here. So, we've got two Open Ds. Miser Linflay's cutting is devastating. There goes my 1840s project rolling stock. Yeah, lack of laser doesn't help laser cutting. Good evening, Bob. I am very well. How are you? That's a horse box. I'm impressed you remember with how long I've had these sitting around, Linny. I think. Let's find out. It is a horse box. Because those are most definitely horse box sides. It may well be two horse boxes. Two horse boxes is a good number of horse boxes. Oh yes, look at those details on the side there, aren't they nice? And good evening, Corbs. How are you? I hope you are well. Oh, here we go, Linny. I appear to have had these long enough that I'm completely confused by the fact there are multiple layers. Oh yes, my see-through slats in the horse compartment doors. Yes, those slats are indeed see-through. That is quite impressive. If I put my finger behind and it focuses, you can see the slats are there, and you can see through them. This is why the demise of Linny's laser cutting is such a shame. The detail was phenomenal. I hope some detail-rich, ready-to-run company picks you up one day, Linny, so that we can have these sorts of details ready to run, because that's quite impressive. Going to put all that back in the bag so it doesn't go missing. Shall we start with a horse box, actually? We may well start with a horse box. You do indeed spy at Big Cat Corbs. But before we start with a horse box, Linny, I want to have a look at everything we've got. Yes, the big cat is hiding at the back. In her Thunderbolt guise. Can't imagine what made me decide to bring her out. And so yes, we also have in here, shockingly, Stroudley vans, ×2. Under frames and ends and lots of details. I do believe we have built some vans on string before though, so these are definitely the end of the pile. Lots and lots of lovely parts though, and the detail on them is incredible. Do you ever get cut again, Lily? I do have a rather large order. We did SER vans, though not proper Brighton ones. Of course we did. Look at you remembering technically my content better than me, even if you were here making it. But yes, I think you're right, Linny. We should start with horse boxes. And I can put the opens away. I'm not sure we have ever built a horse box, but it would be nice to have some horse boxes to go with the lovely Stroudley four-wheelers that I've now got. Doing horse boxes, surely you need some 3D printed horses. I don't think they came in here. I think they're in the storage cupboard, but I do have 7 or 8 white metal horses. So we're okay there. With the horse box, the first step is to build the sides and ends around the floor. This will be useful information, but I think before that I need to separate the two kits. Because otherwise I'm going to get really confused as to what I'm doing. As you can see, everyone, there are lots of parts to these because, you know, Linny knows how to design it for strength and detail and working. Why 3D printed? There are already lots of white metal horses out there. There are lots of white metal horses in here, never mind out there. So you know how I can cut really straight lines? You've all seen me cut really straight lines. Isn't that a nice really straight line I cut across the top there? Metal horse would put a nice bit of weight in the van. Indeed it would, Corbs. And I say I've got 7 or 8 of them already, so at some point I'll have to paint them. I want to point out again, these are very much prototypes. I don't know how well they'll fit together. That's why they're so fun. That's why we called this stream Relaxing with Laser Cut Kits. Because they're test builds and we don't know how well they're going to do anything. And there we go. 2 kits, both alike in dignity. Oh, you're not getting any more than that out of me. I'm not doing Shakespeare. And we're already dirtying up the workbench, as we should. So yes, I believe I missed it when it came along. The chatbot did ask you all to smash that like button, subscribe, ring the notification bell, all that other wonderful stuff. Just, you know, YouTube likes it if I say that. And it likes it even more if you do it. We really don't see the need for 3D printed version of things we already have on the market. Let 3D printing fill in the gaps. Yeah, I can see that now, Linny. Well done. Are they not all the same then? I mean, if I take this left and right hand one and I turn it round like that, are they not the same? Because they look the same to me. Yes, but you want the smooth side outwards. Yeah, fair enough. The swap has been made. Don't allow thing from ancient brush. Need to the way civil blood makes civil hands unclean. Yeah, enough now, Alex. Don't type out the whole of it in here, because you know I'll have to read it out. That's just how I work. Rough side inwards gives strong glue joints and better paint finish on the drop light frame. Fair enough. So, step 1. Build up the sides and ends around the floor. It's good to have the kit designer here watching over your shoulder as you do the test builds. If anyone else wants to design a kit and have me test build it, then do it, because I want stuff to build. As I was going through deciding what we were going to work on tonight, because my my brass sheet for the roof of the saloon hasn't arrived, and my buffers for the Hornby four-wheelers haven't arrived. They've both been ordered, but they haven't arrived, so we couldn't work on them. So I decided to go through my kit stash to see what to do this evening. And obviously these came out on top, but it is looking a lot less empty than a lot emptier than I like. So if anyone's got any kits they want building, I'm for the time being, I'm willing to build them for free if I can do them on stream. Start by adding ends to floor, then add sides. Bear in mind I'm giving instructions from memory about 2 years ago. Yes, I am aware. That's the words I was trying to say. These want to come down here because I'm going to want to clean up the sides. Yes, I think it was not to type the whole play into chat. We don't have a spare decade. Indeed. I tell you what, having been working with MDF for some portions of my house renovations, I wish it would all be this nice and easy. You want the rough side of the floor facing the roof. That's that way up. The holes in it will be slightly tapered so brakes will fit better if it's smooth side out. Ah, I see. I assume it's not handed looking at it. It doesn't look handed. Not handed, no. Excellent. Good to know I'm not completely blind, and we want to get the ends out here ready. So we'll be adding the sides first, smooth side out, and then adding the ends. No, we're doing it the other way round. See, it's a good job I'm reading these things in the chat as I do it. I can just see South Sea pulling a race day special, a few horse boxes, nice race coaches, lovely. It would indeed be very lovely. And I assume this one here is our partition between the horse section and the groom section. Don't forget to put the divider in before adding the second side. See? Look at me thinking occasionally. So what are these bits, Linny? But yes, I can imagine South Sea with a nice long rake running through Hailsham on its big windy bends into the station. Non-stop, straight through out the other side. Be fantastic. Go in the little square holes in the floor. Okay. I can see the square holes. So that's one each side of the wheels on both sides. Brake shoes. Ah, I can see now. Now that you've said where they go, yeah, it's quite obvious that they're brake shoes. Think is bad for the brain, not recommended. 9 out of 10 doctors would avoid thinking. Are you sure about that, Alex? And look at that. It doesn't even need glue, does it? It just holds itself together. See? No need for glue at all. On that note, I'm going to open the glue, which of course is sat next to me with stuff in the way of getting it down. No idea, try not to think about it. Yeah, fair enough. See, Linny worries that these kits might not be top quality because they're test kits and they don't have instructions and they're very old, but look at that. There's me one I want to use for glue. There it is. You could even detail it up even further and put a seat in the groom's compartment. In theory, but no. Also, it looks like you put that side on inside out. I mean, I was only actually doing it for the sake of posing it to show how well your stuff fits together, actually, Linny. I was going to take it back off before putting any glue on. But yes, I had to put it on the wrong way. Thinking, where's the batteries now? It does indeed, Bob. And I'm sure there's many of us guilty of too much thinking, even if they deny it. And there we go, look at all that holding itself nicely. Barely even needs me to touch it. Totally irrelevant comment. I made a cake today in a pressure cooker. Cake is never irrelevant, Paderborn. Was the cake good? We all want to hear about the cake. Still had a little bit on there. I have never made cake in a pressure cooker. Well, in fact, I've never even used a pressure cooker. So there's a fact for you. And there is a link to my Twitter, because the bot wants you to look at my Twitter and see the things I tweet. I'm sure there's a fair few of you that actually don't want to see the things I tweet, but you know, feel free to go and have a look. Very tasty banana, all very nice. Now once you've built the basic body shell, you need to laminate the beading on the card side. Remember, you want a thin coat of neat PVA on the whole non-beading piece. Okay. I'm looking at them and I think I understand. PVA on the flat piece, beading on the top of it. Much like the trailer carriers, yep, there we go. See? I can work these things out if you give me detailed instructions. Eric, have you seen Erridge Station recently? I have not. It has been many years since I've seen Erridge Station. And there we have a box for horses. Technically it is already a horse box. Just doesn't look much like one. I take it the you can also do the ends, which are again like shrouded carriers, same technique. The top of the beading line up to the top of the end wall. I was going to say, I take it the beading wants to go on there as well. It's been painted full SR livery, stunning looking station now. Oh, very nice indeed. No, I don't want to cut those out. Yeah, I'm going to leave them on there. I'm going to cut the beading out. and be as gentle as I can with it, because this stuff looks very fragile. This one has lots of layers. Sorry, it's alright. Lots of layers means lots of detail. As I say, hopefully one day you'll be picked up by a ready-to-run company that can take advantage of how detailed you can make everything. Because your work deserves such things. Exquisite detail in that laser cut. Exactly, Bob. Exquisite detail. Look at that. Beautifully put together. Clear the wet glue off the workbench. Because you see, Linny's CAD work is more than just modelling, it really is art. I do wish I had an eye for detail quite as good, even half as good as Linny's. There are some nicely done sides. You flatter me. I do, but only because you deserve it. And you'll be glad to know I do have something heavy to put them under. I thought ahead. It's okay. But let's get the ends done and put them all under there together. It's good how even all these years down the line, as I'm painting on the PVA, it's still picking up residue off the laser from in the gaps. So it's leaving a slight black marks and stuff over the bits where I put the glue. Not to straighten out the middle beading on that, do it before you glue it. I was hoping I'd get it in place and have enough time to play with it to do that. And hello TB Studios, how are you this evening? But yes, as I go over the side for the first time, over the gaps, it picks up a little bit of black and spreads it over where the glue is, so I can see where I've put the glue much easier than I otherwise would. I once from glue tends to grab the beading so fine tears, especially with wet glue. Well, I managed to straighten it out, okay. And yeah, there are those both done. You won't need anything from that sheet while we do the chassis. Okay, excellent. I'm going to put this sheet and the sheet with the sides on underneath something heavy then. Which, when I say I fought ahead, I mean I haven't cleared the space to get to it, but you know, halfway there. And there we are, they are under a nice heavy box. I've been working on Lego to that. So yeah, Lego trains, that is cool. No one cares about my Lego train. I mean, just because they're not getting responses on Discord doesn't mean people don't care. You have put quite a few of them recently, so people might just be a bit overwhelmed. Doesn't mean they don't care. So yes, we're going to work on the chassis. So we've got brakes. I'm guessing footboards. The inner and outer bits. And wheel bearings. Oh, and covers for the end of the axle boxes. So the underframe is basically like the wagons, inner and outer are aligned with bearings. Yeah, see, I was right. Not just mine, okay. People have said they don't care. Well, that's very bad of people. Those people are not the sorts of people you want to associate with. Those are bad people. Brake to go on last, and this horse box requires 14mm Mansell wheels. I have some 14mm Mansells. They're in the other room. Hydration is important. I shall leave you with some music whilst I go and grab those wheels. And yes, TB Studios, as Paderborn says, some people might not care, but others will. So yeah, let me leave you with some music while I go grab those wheels. Because I've not got Mansells in here, I've only got spoked ones and disc ones. And we return with some Mansell wheels. And good evening, Red. How are you? I hope you are well. Some people like RTR, some like plastic kits, some like white metal, some like Lego. If it's a train, it's fine. Indeed, Paderborn. I like trains. That's my response to that. I believe there's a song about it somewhere. I believe certain members of our audience have t-shirts related to that song. Did you miss much? You missed, you know, you missed the celebration and the cake and everything that we had for the second birthday of the live stream, Red. And the looking at all the nice, fine, lovely projects here, all built on said live stream. Indeed, there is. It's from the ASDF movie series. It is indeed. That is exactly what I was on about. Okay, the cake. Cake sounds like a lie to me. Okay, the cake may actually have been a lie in this case, but does that not just work more into the memeage? Fixed the crate. The Craven tank wasn't broken. The Craven tank's been got fixed the moment it fell off the workbench. Isn't it lovely? Isn't it lovely? With its much stronger supports for the cab roof than it had before. It got fixed up ready for its article. Well, we've also got a slightly more topical logo hidden at the back here, red. I've had a Kit Kat with my celebration hydration. Excellent, Bob. I approve of Kit Kats very much. Some people like trains, and some like cakes. Indeed. But yeah, it took its tumble and it got fixed up, and it got all its lining and everything at the same time. It got fixed up. Nice, thank you, Red. I made the point earlier that whilst Hornby and Rapido fight it out, I did it first. So, Linny. In theory, I put these together with the bearings and then attach to the underside. I mean, Red makes a good argument there. What indeed? Why not both trains and cake? Trains and cake make a good combination. Did you know the inside of Kit Kat is made of pulverised Kit Kat? I did know that. That is one of few weird facts I know. I say few because there's definitely not a whole mind full of them. The spring axle box bits are too fragile otherwise. Fair enough, makes sense. Trains, cake and kittens, but preferably not on the same plate. I mean, there is somewhere a photo of one of my terriers sat next to a bit of cake. Specifically a big bit of rocky road that had come out of my cousin's bakery. Right, that is the down way. That is how we want them. See, I know what I'm doing sometimes. Tried and failed to get train and cake together in a joke. Fair enough. Some say he only knows 2 facts about ducks, and both of them are wrong. All we know is he's called Gary Lightning Oak. If you want facts about ducks, I do know that ducks' quacks do echo, despite what other people will have you know. Those other people are liars. Do not trust them. You know, my cats, they knock the cake off the table and then knock the train into it. So that sounds about right. Of course, cats are the proof that the world isn't flat. Because if the world was flat, the cats would have knocked everything off of it by now. Also, never trust a man who, when left alone in a room with a tea cosy, doesn't try it on as a hat. I mean, why would you not try it on as a hat? That doesn't make sense. Well, the duck with the greatest echo is, of course, Mallard. Don't know about that. Both Brainiac and Mythbusters did that myth. Such an odd myth in the first place. It is indeed. I don't remember Brainiac doing it. I do remember Mythbusters doing it. So we've lined them up, made sure they fit. Admittedly, not this one specifically. Applied the super glue and then it chooses not to fit. There we go. It's in with the super glue. What if it's too small? Well, how would you know it was too small if you didn't try it on? Probably the pulverised Kit Kat, as I expect, they use the rejected ones. That, as far as I'm aware, that is what happens. They use the rejected ones. Doing what, the tea cozy thing or the Kit Kat thing, or yeah. The Kit Kat thing, the tea cozy, the duck's quack thing. There we go. I can get words out eventually. Tea cozy warms your ears. John took a duck in the pedestrian underpass and it clearly echoed. Fair enough. Tea cozy Kara gets it. I think that one could tell if it were way too small. Nah, you definitely need to try it on. Don't forget, don't add the footboard until the whole thing's built, including card axle box covers. Okay, why were the rejected ones rejected? Lack of pulverised Kit Kat inside? I expect so, James. I expect so. Although, on this note of chocolate, I've been trying all these weird new Twixes recently that I had no idea existed. Like, I had a salted caramel one the other day. It's kind of disappointing if I'm being honest. I had a white chocolate one yesterday. That was really nice. Would you try on a Kit Kat as a hat if left alone in a room with a tea cozy made of cake? I'm going to say yes. Although I'd probably eat them both. So, there is those in there. And then, before we attach it to the bottom, we're going to put the little card axle box covers on. Because then, we can't forget. And then we're going to make the other one as well. That's the plan. Probably came out misshapen on the biscuits, disintegrated or whatever. I expect one of those things. Nope, don't add them yet. Okay then, I won't. Fine. The important thing though is to not wear a tea cozy with the pot still inside. I mean, yeah, that would be a problem. They ruined Kit Kats forever when they got rid of the foil packaging. What is the point in eating a Kit Kat without the pure joy of pressing the Kit Kat logo into the foil? Yeah, you're quite right, Alex. You are quite right. Wouldn't that be a waste of tea? Indeed, and who wants to waste tea? Alex doesn't like my choice in teas, so don't tell him. They go on better with PVA, which takes a while to set. Of course it does, yes. No, I've never tried a Kit Kat with PVA. Well, you know what you must do tomorrow then, James? Continue to not try Kit Kats with PVA, that's right. Because it would be silly otherwise. Salted caramel Twix and peanut butter Kit Kats are both awesome. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying the salted caramel Twix was bad, but it was slightly disappointing. Would I have it again? Yes. It wasn't salted caramel enough for me. PP, because the eyes are useful. I approve of not eating though. Indeed. I'm learning. Why is it only once the super glue is on these that they don't want to go in? There we go. Old style metal filings, getting a piece of foil feelings and getting a piece of foil in your mouth used to be memorable. It did indeed. I remember those things well. When fitting the soul bars to the floor, be careful not to break the spring parts off. I will try my best. So someone might want to tell the makers of Kit Kats that foil and paper are more environmentally friendly than plastic. It's true. It is indeed true. Hydration is still important, everyone. I cannot believe that 2 years ago I muttered that because I had no idea what to say, and now it's on mugs in people's houses. It no fit. Linny, it doesn't fit. And they've come apart. It's weird what sticks around, isn't it? It is indeed how it no fit, because the outer sole bar, the springy bit, is very slightly too long. Like 0.5 millimetre. And of course, if I put any pressure on it, it's gonna break something. So I'm gonna have to trim it down slightly on either side. Still no. The coming apart bit wasn't great either. But that's my fault, not your fault. Still no. Trim, triminy, trim, triminy, until it fits. Right. That might be enough if I get it tiled flat there. Should be the response to the trimmy card. Mary Poppins, I think in South Park. Yes, I'm not doing that one though. Sticking to things that are less likely to get me in trouble. There we go, it fits now. Like I say, prototypes, I don't even know if I have built one of these. You might be the first person. That's quite impressive. I'm impressed by this first person knowledge. Now I'm going to put a dab more super glue around these, and even a couple of quick dabs up there. check that it all fits, which it does. And grab some more PVA. PG, I'm more of a Yorkshire tea. I've got some twinings in the kitchen. In all different varieties, none of which Mr. Mole approves of. Approve of twinings, especially decaffeinated. I have some... I mean, I don't normally like decaffeinated. What's the point of drinks without caffeine in them? But I do have some Twinings red berry decaffeinated tea. Green tea. Because my mum can't have caffeine. Would you believe that one's too long as well? Yorkshire tea works very well with Scottish soft water. Lucky you with your soft water. My water comes out more chalk than water. More of a techie person myself. Fancy flavoured tea is heresy. I've got some cake flavoured tea. Surely the point of drinks without caffeine is hydration. I mean, yeah, but why hydrate without getting caffeine? It's easy to put the wheels in before the glue holding soul bars on dries completely. I assumed as much. But I will sit here and read comments all the time instead of actually doing it. I like tea flavoured tea. It's very hydration heavy stream this evening. It is, isn't it? Cake flavoured tea, I've never heard of that. I do sometimes make tea flavoured cake, however. Yes, you have mentioned that before. Good job, I got some cake to move on this tea. I'm not even joking, by the way. I have cake flavoured tea. MDF does flex a little bit once or twice, then it splits in horrible fibrous mess that can't be easily glued back together. Indeed it does. That is an MDF problem I am aware of. Oh, yeah, that sounds awesome. Yeah, see? See, Alex. How ridiculous. Oh, God, I'm pretty tails. Oh. There we go, it fits now. Let's get rid of all those bits. And the wheels are just here. Somebody please send me some Barabra. I would, but I've never even had any, so I can't. Can't get east of the border and north of the other border. Well, that's what you get for being in other countries. It's not a god for he exists. Spiced dried fruit loaf. Yeah, I remember James mentioning it before on Discord and me being very intrigued by it. Right, wheels are in. Are they at the correct spacing? Who knows? But they're in. We have a wagon. It rolls. It rolls way too easily. I love how freewheeling Linny's wagons are. They need basically nothing. Your workbench isn't level. Ah, no. The workbench is level. My bit of glass currently isn't. This corner here is raised up, so the glass is tilting down that way. I think I've got something in here. I need to trim it out, and I keep forgetting to do it. The workbench is very level. But yeah, it's entirely my fault, obviously. That would trigger my OCD so badly. Oh, but you're forgetting, I'm not actually in here often, Red. See, it's alright, when you get to this side, it's really nice because it's flat with the workbench and the glass. It's just that one corner I need to sort out so the glass sits down flat in it. So, yeah, Linny, what's the next step? Barrow is incredible. We have some time to go and see the red kite feeding near Aberystwyth. That does sound like a delightful trip. I agree with James, yes. Well, I've never been to Aberystwyth either. Next step, get your sides and ends out. New matron. Come here, end piece. I didn't give you permission to stick to the shelf. There we go. Going to fit some strapping on the second layer of beading. Ah, so that'll be this slot here. Up until COVID, we did it 2 or 3 times a year, combine it with watching the Starlings at Aberystwyth Pier. Very nice indeed. I had some in a cafe at Portmaddock when I went to Wales back in, I think, 2011. So, in total, I've spent like 4 or 5 hours in Wales, ever. Just saying. Yes, and also the hinges on the right of the sheet. Yeah, yeah. It's this slot goes down the bottom. These, I'm guessing, go up around here. Hinges on these bits, and then we got the door ventilators there. I remember I spent 2 hours in that cafe just watching the trains go by. That does sound good, Red. That sounds very good. You see Nessie Osprey from the train at Dovey Station too. Fantastic. Oh, very nice. Very nice. Door ventilators which go in the blank section under the panel above the door. Yep. Wales is a joy if a little rainy. Well, I mean, it was a good 4 or 5 hours. Correct. Top hinges go directly above the slats. Excellent. Really want to go to Tafflin when we are allowed to travel again. I want to go lots of places when we're allowed to travel again. Whether I'll actually go to any of them or not is the question. It's been a good deal of time, but can't wait till I get back there after lockdown. It'll be great to be allowed to travel. As I say, whether I will or not is another matter. But the knowledge I could if I want to would be great. That was an impressive flip you did there. That is the way round you go. Do they go right to the bottom? I'm guessing like that. Fun fact, we've been going to Wales 2 or 3 times a year for about 27 years, and it's rained while we're there about 8 times. Lies, Alex, lies. Some of those trips are in the winter. Such lies. They do. We all appreciate how cage animals feel now, eh? Exactly, Bob. No, the wide bit is in line with the dashed line. Okay, so they go like that. Yes? But the rain is what makes Wales so green and beautiful, so it's worth it. I'm not saying it's not worth it. I'm just saying it's lies that it doesn't rain. Yes, excellent. That's the hinge. Goes over the gap between the bottom plank of the door and the floor. Excellent. Went there for 2 weeks and it rained for at least part of every day we were there. I mean, that's most places in Britain, to be fair. Right, let's lift the camera back up and I can cut the rest of those, cut the 4 bottom bits, put some glue on and then put them in place. I think, therefore I am. The hinges were so fine I decided against etching the outline on the side as it'd be very visible. Makes sense, yes. Without the rain in Wales, Brum would have no more supply. Fair enough, anytime you want to be reminded of the lies, remember I do have an extensive album flicker from Wales. Good luck finding non-sunny skies in the photos. Ah, but we all know photos can be lies. Trust me, that was my job once upon a time. That's too much glue. Back before people decided it was a bad idea that you could have these sorts of photos in magazines and stuff. Kind of killed the industry a bit, that did. Just checked, I haven't built this version of Horsebox kit. I did a simpler chassis for my own one, which then got squished by mistake. Ouch. Good evening, Heritage Railway Productions. How are you? I hope you are well. So yes, you're the first person to build this one. That is quite special. I assume also the last, but not until I build the other one. Mine never had footboards. Agreed, I have photography qualification. We all know I know no idea when it comes to editing photo editing. I don't see why that's important. You know me, perhaps you paid me to edit them to all be sunny. And there we are, a job that looks fiddly, but that actually isn't. Don't they look good? Possibly, if I can get back to lasercut, I might make another one for myself. Fair enough. Way too tight fitted to do that. Well, that is true, yes. And well, thank you. Excellent. Glad to hear it. So, now we have the higher up bits. Which I'm guessing go like that. Yes, Linny? I believe I'm correct. The rightmost one is peeling. So it is. They both are actually on the ends. How much laser cutters? £1,000. Also too big to fit in my house. Yeah, that's a big downside, is when they're too big to fit in your house. Correct. Almost like you've done this sort of thing before. Indeed. Almost. And there we go. Squish it all under a book again soon, she'll be ready. Exactly. So the other ones, the top hinges go up here, yes? I'm sure that's where you said they go. If you say yes, I was paying attention. If you say no, I was just testing. Goodness, that is splendid detail. It is, isn't it, James? It's such a shame that we have lost Linny's laser cutter. Correct, in line with the bottom ones. Well, I assumed in line with the bottom ones. Tell you what, whilst I'm at it, I'm going to cut out the ventilator for above the door. And then I can get glue on all of those at the same time. Like so. And there we have the side of a horse box. And it really is fantastic. Perfect. Thank you, Linny. We need to crowdfund a laser cutter for Linny and a bigger house and ear defenders. Yes, I approve of those things. And fire extinguishers. Oh, I've got one of those as well. I can donate a fire extinguisher. Convince Gareth's neighbour to laser them for me. I've told you the name of their company. Look them up and send them a message. Because, in fact, no, they won't, because they don't do MDF. They do. They only work. She doesn't like using MDF because of the fumes. I can find a fire extinguisher. I've got loads. I need to get mine checked. Yeah. The ticket on the side says it was last checked, last serviced in 2006. Which I believe is what we call not ideal. But she uses plastic. She does use some form of plastic, yes. I don't know what it is. But she's opposed to MDF. That's one of the things I remember her telling me. You need CO2 type for a laser cutter. I have a CO2 type. How much would it add to the kit cost if to get someone to cut the if you got someone to cut it for you? When was it last used? I have no idea. It feels full. It's heavy enough to be full, but I don't actually know. It does need checking and servicing. I mean, a history of its usage will be the last times it was used was to wind up my ex when she was cooking. But she deserved it. And it didn't really get used then, because that was just sitting on the side. Quite a bit, unfortunately. They tend to charge for laser time, which a kit like this uses a lot of. Yeah, that makes sense. Was she not good at cooking? The reason she moved in with me was because she burnt her flat down. That's how good at cooking she was. This one didn't laser very well, it's missing a bit. But never mind. I'm just trying to position them now with the burnt side down. Right, there we go. Mine's my brother, who is, when his in-laws are over, has a tendency to play the guitar very loud. His father-in-law says, "We'll be back in a few minutes. Assuming you can manage this bit." I can manage a bit. You go do whatever it is you're doing, Linny, and you can see it in a bit. Once I can focus it. It's not a part of the kit missing, it's the laser has messed this up a bit. And chopped off a bit. But yes, so my ex was cooking a roast at her old flat one day. And she had to go out and grab something from the shops, so she did. Quite a normal thing to do. I personally don't like leaving ovens on. Once you've done this, pop the Xbox covers on the PVA, then you can add the footboards. Okay. So yeah, she popped out, came back, and our flat was on fire. Because as well as leaving the oven on, she left her washing basket on top of the hobs with the roast in the oven. So there were numerous occasions where, when she was cooking here, I'd get the fire extinguisher out and place it on the side. Washing basket on the oven, that's insane. Exactly, that's what I told her. I didn't know it would get that hot. It's an oven, love. Not just fire hazard, hygiene. Well, yes. I mean, it taught her a lesson about having insurance. Because she had no insurance at the time either. And there we are. Another side. Much quicker to do when you know how. Get out from under there, it won't be able to squish these if you're under there. I have two in the garage, a regular one and an electrical fires one. My fire extinguisher is actually in this room right now, because this is where it lives. Hygiene is a myth dreamt up by the soap companies. I'll take your word for that, Alex. You'll forgive me if I don't actually, won't you? She sounds like the sort of person who very much needs insurance, doesn't she just? But yeah, she's always had insurance since then. She also never told anyone, except for me, what actually caused the fire. She told everyone else that they discovered it was a wiring fault. Welcome back, Linny. You can see we have not rushed off ahead without you. In sewer ants are good to have. Yes, Paderborn, yes they are. I approve of linear return. Mr. Pratchett, I presume. It's been a long time since I've read any Terry Pratchett. My bookcase upstairs has many Pratchett Discworld novels on. Trying to think of the word Discworld there. But it's been a long time since I've read any. And so I assume these footboards go in these spaces here. Entire series downstairs and put shelf. This one that is. No, I also have the entire Johnny trilogy. Ah. See, I don't have all the Discworlds. I just have various ones. They may also be slightly too long. They are indeed. I was going to say they are slightly too long to fit in. Certainly the inner bits are, and yeah, the outer bits look okay. Never read any Pratchett. I know it'd be something I would love. I've just never got around to it. Wouldn't even know where to start now. Yeah, you definitely would, Alex. Yeah. And remember, hydration is important. The box said so. Drop your link to reading all the suggestions and flowcharts somewhere if you want. It's a sad loss. Many started but never to be finished, stories left behind. Indeed he was. Several series in this world. So John Strategic's No Bang on Jolly and Bomb Jolly and Dead's a good place to start. As is Truckers. Truckers is fantastic. There we go, fits nicely now. See? Yeah, Truckers is fantastic. Who remembers the series of Truckers they did on the TV? I had that on VHS back in the day. I don't know why I held it with my fingers to then grab it with the tweezers. My favourite game series is the Hell Units by Pratchett Works. I love Fable, indeed. Love children's books. He was very adamant he didn't want his unfinished stories published. I did not know that, but it makes sense. Truckers with Warner Brothers department store. Yes, that's the one, James. And that black box. Yeah, it was brilliant. His will required that his hard drive be destroyed by being run over by a steamroller. Well, that's certainly one way of doing it. Didn't he have his unfinished across? Seen the animated adaptations of Truckers and its sequels. Excellent. Carpet People is a good way to bend your mind in fresh shade of madness. It was Fowler Engine at the Great Dorset's Theme Fair. Interesting. So that's quite an elaborate way of destroying one's work, but didn't he back up? So yeah. This is what no one knows. Is he actually he was with one of those backup services that automatically backs up your hard drive, and you can just have a new one delivered. sitting on a server out there now with all of Pratchett's unfinished work no one knows about. So having your work crushed, having your hard drive crushed with a steamroller seems more of a ceremonial way of destroying stuff rather than an actual way of destroying stuff. Always thought it quite arrogant of writers to think they can finish dead writers' work. Never liked it as an idea. I agree. I agree. I'm torn on the new Romero films that are being made. George Romero wrote all the screenplays. He did all that. They've not been altered since, and they are using his screenplays as he wrote them to make them. But I don't like the fact he's not involved to oversee it and make sure that what comes out at the end is what he intended. But he also did want them made, so on that note, yes. I agree, but it also depends on the wish of the person. Take Stanley Kubrick, who wanted Spielberg to finish movie AI for him. Well, yes. Some writers don't want the series left unfinished and leave notes. I mean, in that case, it's different. I was going to say they're made with his express permission, though. Yes, they were. Well, in fact, are any of... Have they... Were not all the ones made so far before he died? Because I know there's one in the works now that is obviously after he died. I thought all the ones so far were whilst he was still alive. I could be wrong. So that's why I'm torn on them. I like the, you know, he wanted them finished, and I like the fact they are getting finished for that reason. But I don't like the fact he won't be there to oversee that they actually come out as he intended. And his first 3 films are all the best ones anyway. The second trilogy is a bit naff. Right, Linny, what's next? Are we putting the brakes on, I assume? Because that's basically what we've got left on this now, isn't it? The brakes and then attaching the outer detailed bits that we've detailed up. I'm going to cut them. I wouldn't do the brakes yet. Okay. Good evening, Thomas. How are you? I hope you are well. I get the go why I mentioned Kubrick and AI, where he deliberately left it for his best friend to finish for him. Yes, indeed, that is different when it's to that level. And as I know George Romero wanted his screenplays made into film. I just don't like the fact he's not there to make sure they come out right. So I have a similar issue with those Lost Dad's Army episodes they made. In that case, though, it isn't the writing, it's the actors. The actors made Dad's Army, so I have no interest in it without them. Yeah, it's there's something... I've got the Lost episodes. They could have done them so much better than they did with just a few small things. Some of the actors they chose were definitely the wrong actors for the role. Some were right but didn't put enough work in. You ought to get your couplings out now, though. Ah, good idea. Yes, my couplings are sat next to me. Let me just cut this one out now that I've cut the other one out. No, no, you're not the coupling bag. Where's the coupling bag gone? Maybe that was the coupling bag and they've all fallen out. I had 2 bags of couplings up here. I better not have put them back in the box. I'm alright, cheers. I had a Chinese, so it's all good. How the devil are you, sir? I am very well, thank you. I approve of having a Chinese. I didn't. I'll put them back in the box. That's one without actual couplings. That's just hooks. There's one with couplings. Although they're free links, not screw links. So hang on, 10:30 and we're just about finished Linny's most complex wagon kit today. You are surprised by this? Why? Oh, this is my spare parts one, so I only have 1 hook in here. That's alright, we only need 1 hook for testing. And there's that spring that I dropped. Didn't give the film any attention for the same reason. Yeah, I haven't watched the film for that reason. Small, you have a message? Thank you. Yeah, give it a check tomorrow. Sometimes complex is the quickest and basic can be slow. No, Linny's less complex wagons are also really quick to do. There we go. Those sides are stunning. Not paid much attention up to now. I've been doing stuff on my workbench tonight. Ah, well. Since it's about that time, what have you been doing on your workbench? And that question goes out to everyone else as well. Please do let me know. I love hearing what you're all up to whilst I'm here working away. There we go. Doesn't that look good? Possibly needs some glue. I know I've built one of my SECR opens, including glue drying time, in under an hour. Yeah, that sounds perfectly doable. So waiting for ages for another Wheel of Time novel to come out, and then found out that Robert Jordan had died. Widow took a while to approve another writer to finish the series off. Yeah. Probably not backlogs. All fun backlogs. Checking whether I have enough components for my next circuit card builds and ordering what I do not have. Aha. Still collecting bits from my A2 build. Well, one day, Red, you'll have to actually build it. Mostly trying to remember how these things go together. So fair enough. Now I'm doing DC programming Engage Class 101s. Excellent. Playing StarCraft 2. Very nice. Very nice. Yes, it does look good. My recent work has been converting 6 teaks to NEM pockets plus Henry and a cattle wagon. Ugh, NEMs. That means big ugly couplings, not nice scale couplings that are actually massively oversized. Let's do that. Plaster that over. Stick that on. Drop that back through to make sure we've lined it up. Finally got my hands 00350 to 8 clan line. Been looking One since August 19. Oh, very nice. Very nice. I approve of a model of clan line. So me and Hitchhiker's Guide, by the way, we're looking forward to a new TV adaptation coming out soon. I didn't know they were doing a new TV adaptation of Hitchhiker's Guide. Been doing a few odd bits on the kits I had on the go. Excellent. Working on SR first for my 7598-ish conversion. Luckily, not had another paint spill moment yet. I approve of not having another paint spill. Scale couplings are lovely. Set one couple, uncouple automatically, which is no good for computer-controlled layouts. My next video will be on computerized uncoupling. I agree with that point, James. Yes, and I look forward to that. Stick it on, then sling your hook through the hole. Well, I mean, that's what I went for, and now I've flipped it upside down so I can get some weight on it to press it flat for a minute. Done with tension locks for my predominantly faceless stuff purely because operational pluses of KDs outweigh the fiddliness of screw links. Yeah, but the operational pluses of tension locks outweigh the rubbishness of KDs. There we go, it's nice and flat now. And we can check again, like the hook fits nicely. See, almost like I know what I'm doing. Almost. Further, first BBC Hitchhiker's Guide series, it was based on the radio series rather than the book, and the radio series was my introduction to Douglas Adams. That's a good reason to prefer that. Details not included in kit are buffers, couplings, roof oil lamp, and a Westinghouse cylinder. Oh, and a brake pipe. And would you believe I have all those things? Not in here though. In fact, I have sprung buffers for it. Quick question, Brighton Collection Mouldings, teak or mahogany? I assume mahogany. I'm not sure. So that potential lots have the issue with coupler lock, which really can't be bothered with if my layout is completed. I mean, yeah, but KDs have the problem of not coupling up very well on corners. Not going to fit the roof until it's painted and glazed. Well, yes, that would make sense. Fancy mahogany. Yep, there we go. See, careful buffering up for coupling or it'll bounce a long way down the track. Indeed. Indeed it will. Right, and there's that side flat on there. Let's check that again. Yes. Now we'll take this side and we'll overlay it there. And we'll make sure we're happy. We are. Don't plan on having many corners, to be fair. Well, corners are important. Even Bright Helmstone has a curve. Possibly two. And that layout's totally pointless. That just have to go slightly off camera so I can press it down at the edge where the footboard isn't getting in the way. Make sure the drop light frame is centered nicely in the window. It looked it before I turned it upside down. Windows are called lights in carriage building terminology. Just drop light is a window drops down, for example, in a door. I was aware of that. I knew that fact. Yay for knowing facts. Isn't it a wonderful little horse box? A little bit more glue for the other side. Try not to lose it all on there. Maybe a bit more than that. Course light is a small window between the door and the compartment. Indeed, I knew that as well. And I believe in my, I'm pretty sure, anyway, in my video on the Hornby coaches, I used the correct half-light term where required for the big ones as well. Very nice little thing. Just Raven cut up 2 perfectly good models to make one. It'd be fine, Matt. The early Stroudley third carriages had half-lights with one window shared between 2 compartments. Indeed they did. Time for me to hit the haze. I love you and leave night all. Good night, Paderborn. Thank you for coming. Great to have you here as always. I look forward to seeing you here again soon. I'm thinking of going for a Stroudley bogey first, Matt. Indeed, Linny. Remember those pictures I sent you the other day? I took those for Matt. There we go. Drop light is also the name of those little rectangular windows they installed for basement rooms. I don't want to look forward to seeing that. Don't let the bed bug bites. 7598-ish, so it'll be a Stroudley Billington hybrid. Indeed it is. It's a Billington design built very similar to Stroudley. That was an interesting read I found on that the other day. Sometimes I really do feel like a failed nerd. Never read Pratchett. I know hardly anything about Hitchhiker's Guide. Not a fan of Doctor Who. Never played D&D. Imposter nerd. So I couldn't quote anything about Hitchhiker's Guide to you. I know bits of it, but from years and years and years and years ago. I've also never played D&D, and I'm not a big fan of Doctor Who either. So, you know, there we go, Alex. You're fine. Join my lots of D&D games. We're always open. The brake shoes fairly vulnerable. I'd recommend fitting the couplings and springs before you put the brake shoes in. Okay. That's pretty tough, I'm not going to lie. No NWI inspired chassis as per the prototype. Excellent. Quote pretty much all of Marvin's dialogue. I cannot. I am going to tap the glue for now and wash the brush off. How about Trek, Blake Seven's Thunderbirds? Well, I've watched lots of Star Trek. Voyager is obviously the best. There we go. That'll throw some out there. Just because, you know, I know people will love that comment. And I've played with the actual Thunderbirds puppets. So, there's also that. back when I was in the Jerry Anderson fan club. If you want to get rid of some straggly underframes, Matt, I have to take them off your hands. I was waiting for that offer. Gotta love Thunderbirds, if only for the model work. Thunderbirds was fantastic. Die hard tracker, you adore Jerry Anderson stuff, never seen Blake 7. The only way is Janeway. Watched every series everyone's mentioned. See, you're a real nerd, Red. Voyager is great, never understood the hate for it. No, neither have I. You jammy, Red. I was reading your comment. Lily. Now Picard is better, or Saru. So, I do believe I've only got 3 links here. I think my screw links are also another thing that I was on order and hasn't arrived. Let me check again. There's 4 free links there, though. I've got a couple of white metal axle boxes as well. Oh, hang on. Oh, no, you're also 3 links. That's not very helpful, is it? 2 bags of 3 links and none of screw links. And look, I've even got some Brighton wagon buffers here for doing the wagons. Manual. I really liked that. What I liked about Thunderbirds was that always about helping getting folks out of bad situation. Great effort for kids. Indeed, Bob. Tell Alex things like that. I didn't use the same hook, right? They do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit them and change them for change the links on them at a later date. Can't get into Star Series 2 series move for Doctor and others that would laugh. So to be fair, I think Sarah is a good character. Just maybe copy pasting for the rest of the show. Discovery and Picard are adequate sci-fi series. They are not Star Trek. But yeah, what I loved about Thunderbirds especially was that when I was a kid, the Thunderbirds puppets lived at the Jerry Anderson Museum in Eastbourne, which was, at the time, 1.5 miles from my house. So, you know, you can see what I was going for there. Because I was in the fan club, I could get in and had a day playing with the puppets. I don't think they live there anymore, though. I don't even know if the museum's still there. Some people just tried everything Star Trek stood for. They left 3 put something how in reach later. I can see why you're interested in Thunderbirds then. I recall watching those on television when I was a nipper. They were great. We used to laugh at Brain talking into how we do it all day. Yeah, look, I've got my smartwatch on now. Nothing gets me angrier than New Track. Talking about Jerry Anderson, anyway, it's seen Nebula 75. No, I haven't. I'm aware of it. Does that count? This couldn't be fiddlier if it was paid to be fiddly. That's a saying now, I've decided. It's in, it's stuck. It works. This lot here can go back in the bag. I still wear an old-fashioned watch. I did wear an old-fashioned watch until the strap broke in it. Or on it, even. And I started wearing a smartwatch when I got one for free with my phone contract. You considered popping the wheels out for the other one. Ah, but we don't want to stress the MDF too much, do we? Because if I were to do that, I might as well have just not put them in the first place. Yes, because Gene Roden really wanted his bright vision in the future to have people trying to murder each other every 5 minutes. Admirals wearing like sailors. Yeah, of course he did. Obviously. I don't think this was. I don't wear a watch at all unless I'm dressing smart or I wear a pocket watch and chain. When strap breaks on my watch, I just replace the strap. Yeah, well, I considered that, but I never got around to it. There we go. Look, that one was easier. It's all right once you know how to do it. Proof pocket watches. That's why I thought it's more realistic. Who wants realistic when they can have Star Trek? Just saying. But you had to put them in order to fit the salt bars straight. What? No, it's done now. Realistic to what his vision. It's a set universe. Yeah. You can't have realistic and Star Trek. They are might as well add your buffers now. Then you say that, but they're in the other room, and I'm not sure which drawer they're in. Otherwise, I would. I used to wear a Flying Scotsman watch until the strap went. Can't get a replacement strap for it anywhere. That's a bit rubbish. Defy anyone to watch red letter media reviews of some pick and tell me they are wrong. Seems to be custom tailored for the watch being metal and all that. That's a bit rubbish. Get your mahogany paint out then. Now that I do have. It's not you, is it though? No, you're olive. That's definitely not mahogany. And your paint remover, that's also not mahogany paint. I think that says mahogany. Pretty sure that says mahogany. Mahogany satin dull. Pretty sure. Certainly looks mahogany. Anyway, I've got to go work tomorrow. See you on Discord in the morning, probably night. Oh, good night, Red. Thank you for coming by. Great to have you here, as always. See, that's one of the advantages of this watch. Is if I'm doing something and someone sends a message on Discord, it comes up on here, and I don't have to check anywhere else. I have buried you under some kits. Yeah, it's one of those limited 4472 watches being advertised some years ago. Bradford Exchange or something. Yep, I know exactly the sort of thing you mean. You want to inject realism materials we love. How about an edgy reboot? Tom's Tank Engine, swearing, murder, total disregard for established character. P988 code and my mahogany tint. Yep, that's definitely 988. Thank you, Matt. That is mahogany. Body and sole bars and buffer beams mahogany, footboards and everything below them black. Buffers also black. Well, you'll be glad to know my buffers are already black. So that's good. Turning in now, thanks again, Gary. Good evening. See you all Being a company, stay safe. Regards always, Bob. Okay, good night, Bob. Thank you for coming. Great to have you here as always. And I shall look forward to speaking to you again soon. So I think there's several people who've done that on the tubes of you, Mr. Mole. Let out sometimes, so I still hurt so much when it don't distract. That's okay. You can let it out. Look, there's a Discord message on my watch. See, it works. I can read Discord. Well, I can't see who sent it, but that's sort of my fault. Except when they should be polished metal. Well, yeah, that's obviously going to be an issue with black buffers. No doubt, it's only good night. How very 21st century. Indeed. Means I can always be watching you. I mean, to be fair, I'm not always. Look, and there's another one. They all come through. I mean, the main reason I like my smartwatch, and I want to stress, I only got it because it was free, and I would not pay for one. They're not worth paying for. But the main thing I like about it is its fitness stuff. It's very good for people trying to get into shape. Monitors my heart rate all day, my blood oxygen, how many steps I do. You know, it's rather good at helping me count how many calories I'm burning. Oh, also it's got a countdown time, it's timer on it and stuff. So when I'm doing stuff, I can forget about things if I just set a timer to remind me. Be gentle. I'm being gentle over those. Look, the slats are fine. See? The slats are happy. They send an image of the watch I found on Google. Ah. I was wondering who it was since I'd been tagged with it was this one. I shall have a look at that later. I do always read Discord after the end of the live stream. Sometimes I read it mid-live stream just by looking down at my wrist. Thank you. Oh, it's okay, Linny. I won't break it. So, Linny, you know how earlier you wanted me to put the sides on a certain way so that they take glue easier, take paint easier, and now they're completely covered. Just pointing that out. I won't break it 30 seconds later. Oops. No, I wouldn't do such a thing. Not completely. It's only the bit around the window. You can see the drop light frame. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. It's only the bit around the window. God, I love the detail on these. Who'd have thought we'd get a whole kit built and painted in a single evening? See, when I say it's going to be a relaxing stream, I mean it. Can't see the detail quite as well. There we go. Doesn't it look good? I approve of kit building efficiency. Thank you, James. I believe all the efficiency is due to the designer. Every last bit of it. Internet glitch, now watch Gary paint. That's super speed to catch up. It's efficient as it's not an FX descendant. Oh. It's Linny's amazing work. Oh, definitely needs a second coat. Yes, Linny. Definitely needs a second coat. See, now that I've put those couplings in, they're in the way of me painting it. So I saw one of the slats bounce a bit. You might have done. If it didn't stick down quite properly, they are quite fine, so it wouldn't surprise me if one of them hadn't stuck with the glue properly. It'll probably stick fine with the paint on it though. So I shan't be too worried about it. Can I just point out what a shame this is at the moment, actually? Look. Paint does help seal it all together. Yeah, I thought so. No, I just want to point out, yeah, what a shame this is, because as I sit here brush painting, turn camera, there's the spray booth, just there, waiting to be used. But I've not installed the ventilation yet, so we can't use it. But isn't that a shame? Some bits not covered along the top there. I always like to cover the edges as much as I have to spray the second horse box. Then I'll have to get the ventilation installed first. And then all base colours will be spray painted. The airbrush is even set up on it. Look at me being careful with the slats, because they're very fragile. See, all the slats are fine. Just remember to check the vents thoroughly. Well, it's getting a... It's just the angle. The paint lid is like... If I put those there, my hand is coming down where the end of those are. So yeah, it's the angle. But yeah, I can't check the vents very thoroughly at the moment, Thomas, because I haven't installed them yet. I'm actually completely replacing that spray booth when I do the new ventilation. It'll be slightly smaller than that one and I'll have a turntable in it. But it'll mean I can put the spray paints next to it as well as having the airbrush hooked on the side. It's good. No imposter. No imposters about them. No. Other than my daughter, who has a T-shirt that says imposter across the front of it. You're quite right, Bot. Hydration is indeed very important. But I have a paintbrush in my hand. Fine, hydration is important. The hydration vessel is empty, it can wait. Very sus. Indeed. The boy has one that says sus. And she has one that says imposter. There's a bit of paint there that doesn't want to be there. It's in between the slats. Doubly important on my end, apparently. Oh, hydration is always important. Even if it wants to be doubly important, I do see it's there twice. Made a lovely job of this, Gary. Once it's built, I reckon that could pass as an etched kit. Okay, so we'll post some pictures of it online after it's done and painted, and see if anyone can guess what it is made of, and see how many people think it's an etched kit. I think I used the command just as Bot was going to say it. You did indeed. Do you have one saying I was in engineering? I do not. So I have never actually played Among Us. I'm aware of it. I know how to play it. I've even watched a few Let's Plays just to see what it is. But I've never actually played it myself. I think the footballs might give it away though, they're a bit thicker than it should be. Yeah, but if you take it from the right angle, it'll probably be alright. And hide it. See? Photography is all about tricking people into seeing what you want them to see, not what's actually there. That's my days photoshopping for magazines showing through again, isn't it? Actually saying that, most of my photoshopping was for websites. Let's refill the hydration vessel. A couple of streamers I watched play it got very bored very quickly. Strikes me as one of those mediocre games that no one pays attention to. Then some big YouTubers. Yeah, apparently it had been around for quite a while before it got big. So I expect there is a couple of big streamers that played it and launched it as such. So yes, hydration is important. But certainly, if I were ever to play it, I would play it in a group with people I know. I don't do these randos on the internet games. Plasmophobia was around the same time. Everyone played it. Now no one cares. Fair enough. I don't think I know that one. But I'm not big on online games really anyway. Well, with knowing what they are. Co-op ghost hunting game. Ah, interesting. Definitely never heard of it. Don't hit the camera with the paintbrush. That's not how paintbrushes are supposed to work. And don't throw the paintbrush either. You know what the problem with this horse box is going to be though, don't you? This mahogany paint we're painting it in actually looks like the right colour for LBSC mahogany. Hornby's attempt at it on the four-wheelers does not. World of video games become a world of 5-minute wonders thanks to the whole YouTube streaming thing. Indeed it has. And that's why I tend to ignore it a lot of the time. Now that's already dry because of this being card and MDF. I could do that second coat now. Don't know about you, Gary, but suddenly I fancy a race day hotspot special. You'll need to cut me a few more and send them down first. Can't do a horse box special with only 2 horse boxes. And I think with these ones done, I'm going to have to retire my old LBSC painted mainline ones. I think it's mainline. As I said, behind Southsea, indeed, Alex. I have half done LSWR horse spots for 3D printing too. Excellent. More variety is more better. Obviously what I'm supposed to say is the best variety, but I didn't want to. I wanted to throw you all off that time. I hope it worked. So I'm super late tonight. I'll blame my country's timekeeping quirks. Good evening, everyone. I have to catch up with the coordinator. Good evening, Andy. How are you? When we started this evening, this was a flat kit, but it looked a bit like this. So it's come quite some way this evening. Good looking horse box. It's a fantastic looking horse box, isn't it? These kits were designed by Linny some years ago. This is the first test build, despite the fact that Linny no longer produces kits in this medium anymore. I might have gotten a bit behind with my test builds I was doing for Linny. Just a little bit behind. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I'm seriously tempted to get one. It is a shame, isn't it? Oh, I know you only build my kits when you've nothing better to do. I love building your kits, Linny. Yeah, it's a real shame that you can't do the laser cutting anymore. Because as great as 3D printing is, I really do enjoy building your laser cut ones. It's great if you made him know I'd love on something to get to laser cut moment, sadly. Exactly. It's a shame. Suggested earlier, Andy, that we should crowdfund Linny a laser cutter of their very own and space to keep it. I'm all down for that idea. It's a bit more sense of achievement when you actually have to build something. Well, yes, but it's not just that. Let's face it, I build enough stuff. I'm not short on the achievement of building things. These kits are really enjoyable to build. I've known this is going to happen. I would order coach kits back in 2019. Exactly, Alex. I'm sure we can bribe Linny into cutting us some more stuff once access to the laser cutter is back. I wanted some of those coach kits as well. Back in the days before I built a Craven rake, but I kind of still want them. The fact we've done this horse box now, it's a shame I didn't go with my original idea for the things across the back of the workbench. Because my original idea was the B1, so South Sea, and some of the Hornby four-wheelers. Let's say, like, literally 10 to 9 I changed my mind on it, put the four-wheelers away and got the other locos out. This pandemic's caused a lot of confusion and delay. We're glad when it's over. Indeed, Thomas. For 1840s, I have three choices: Linny kits, Hornby rocket coaches, or nothing. I mean, there's giant oversized Triang rocket coaches as well, which are probably as expensive as Hornby ones, to be fair. They certainly were the last time I looked at them. I disapprove of pandemics. Indeed, James. Hopefully it won't be long till everyone's had their jab and we can start looking at opening things up. I don't recommend them, no. Definitely not. Because of course I've had my vaccination. It's a bit pointless when you can't actually do anything because everyone else hasn't had it. But, you know, I've had it. And yes, they are just... I wouldn't touch the old rocket coach with Shunter's pole, and yes, they are just as expensive. Typical. They make good Craven first class coaches of type 13A. Reminds me I need to put my rocket back together at some point and get some stock for it to pull. Can't bother on getting new ones just yet. Yeah, you definitely should do that. I'm sure I can eventually cut you some more, Alex, but you need to build the ones I've sent you first. If you're looking for someone to build them, Alex, I'm looking for things to build. Just saying. Oh, I do, but I need many, many more. As I said earlier, anyone wants anything built at the moment, now's the time to get in touch via the Discord or the website or Twitter or Facebook, because I'm doing it for free if I can do it on stream. Tempting offer, but I actually want to try doing them myself. As you should. I approve of wanting to do them yourself. And that's 2 coats. Do you fancy a 16mm scale Quarry Hunslet chassis? Will it fit on my workbench? Because if people send me stuff to build, I will build it. The only thing keeping me from finishing my Craven rake is the lack of W-irons and spring hangers. I don't think I've got any no gauge. That is a shame. I would buy a D1 kit, but I know you've already done a D1 string build. Well, they are good locos. I very nearly got my D1 out to put on the workbench with this lot tonight, but it wasn't my D1 I built on stream. It was Linny's. It would have been a nice contrast to the to South Sea though, because the D1 has transfers I designed on it. I also have the drawings for a D1 up on the workbench wall. May have some lining at some point soon. Not that confident doing it myself. Depends how you want it done. Because, I mean, I'm happy to do it with transfers, not so much with paint. Hydration is important. Come on, camera, focus properly. Isn't she wonderful? I think she is. That's an incredibly detailed bit of cardboard and MDF. I suppose I should probably get some black paint out. No, you're white. You're not black either. Probably find it easier if I stood up and had a look. Oh, it shall do. Better paint the underframe now as well. And fit the brakes. Of course, I should probably fit the brakes before painting the underframe. I assume. Because they'll want painting as well. But I do have the paint now. If I hadn't watched this, I'd say that was extra, to be honest. Well, hey, that's what we're after, Matt. She's fantastic, isn't she? This is what I mean about what a shame it is that Linny's had to stop. Because the kits are just that good. You've watched me build and paint it in 2.5 hours. Fit them with super glue you want them to dry quickly. That's a good idea. I might do that. Does look damn good, but then all Linny kits do look damn good. They do, don't they? I very much stand by the fact some RTR producer needs to pick up Linny full time as a CAD artist, because their eye for detail and their ability to make stuff that works is fantastic. Always wanted them to be buildable in an evening because I have ADHD and if I don't finish a project a couple of days, I'll lose interest. Makes sense. How thick was the card for the body overlays out of interest? There we go, Linny. There's a question for you. I approve of Linny being a CAD artist for some RTR firm. Rapido, perhaps. Rapido would be a great choice because, of course, their level of detail is absolutely insane. So that I think Linny would fit in well there with the detail and everything. That's a good call, James. Transfer would be preferred, anywho. Better than that lining tape. OX has. It's so obvious it's tape. Yeah, I'm not a fan of lining tape because of it being rather obvious that it's tape. If you can get some transfers and send it all to me, I will do it. That is not a problem. Rapido level of detail is insane, and yet there are people who think the Hornby Lion will be better. That's because people are also insane. Should be able to get the breakthrough right up close to the wheel tread. I know I should, but how close do I want it? I mean, obviously I actually want it very close, but then yeah, it doesn't fit in with other stock, with RTR stock then. And it bothers me, the lack of consistency. The power of a name, yep. Shows how hard it'll be for anyone to break into the market. Since Rapido are already a known entity who have done some fantastic work. I disapprove of a lack of consistency. Fair enough, better to be consistent and have some things perfect and some completely wrong. Exactly. Yeah, it will do. We'll have the regular E2 in basic colour, in green 5 in basic colour 2. Should be a full stream's worth then. Excellent. Get it done quickly because I'm running out of stuff. This is why I'm offering to do things for free. Actually, all the effort I went to get figures that looked right enough to be modified into the Reverend and the Bishop for Thunderbolt. Rapido would best do them as footplate crew and do them right. I think Curascow did pretty well entering the market. Well, that yes, but how much do people like if they came up against Hornby? How much would people trust them? Because look at the stuff Rapido have done, like the Sterling single. It's all fantastic. But people are still saying the Hornby one will be better because Hornby. Have you ever thought live streaming electronics work? Such as Curascow stuff is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous too. It is, you're quite right. And they've got Hornby's former researcher who was very good at his job, and Hornby's research just doesn't seem up to standard since then. So then I have considered building a little modern shunting plank to run some of it on badly, such as circuit card building, layout wiring. That layout wiring, certainly that will come. Single weight PJ70s, everything Rapido's done has been excellent. Indeed it has. So there's another thing I want them to do from the film. The Whizbet, the W and U coach. There we go. I don't need to mangle words to get them out if I just say that. Because they've got the J70 as well. Or, well, I mean, they did for Model Rail. It's not actually theirs. But they would go together. No circuit card building. I maybe. I know layout wiring will definitely happen. Because... Come on, cable, you're not that short. We've got South Park Quarry up there waiting to be built. So all that's going to happen on stream. And there's the Midland layout, which is all going to happen on stream as well. So yeah, there's definitely going to be layout wiring that is already planned. Other stuff may come in the future. If they do the WNU coach, I'll happily snatch one up. Indeed, it would be a fantastic thing to have. Ideally, I'd want the bogey. Ideally, I would only want the bogey coach if they did the four-wheel coach as well. You need both for the WNU. Yep, fair enough. Are you going to wire it for automation / block detection? No, no. Have you seen? I mean, that's the track plan, James. It's one engine in Steam, and it's not exactly big. There's nowhere for things to get out of sight and need complexities like that. But automation is fun. I mean, I agree. So for those that don't know, I'm not much of an operator when it comes. I don't often play trains. I much prefer building. I set up scenes on the layout, but I don't very often operate any of them. So automation is a great idea. I think automation would fit in really well on any of my layouts, so I could sit and watch them without actually operating them. You've got a skin, but yeah, it's just not something that will be appropriate for that layout. God, that's quite a skin as well. That's going to need some white spirit at some point, but it'll do for now. Automation as well. It depends on the reason someone bought the J74. That's true, Thomas. There's a link to the Facebook page. You need automatable couplers for automation. That's very true. That's one big key thing against it. You're right, James. I'm glad you reminded me of the problems with it and why I wouldn't want it. Because things do just look so much better with proper scale couplings. If I correctly get what you mean, you still need four-wheel coach. Yeah, that's true, Alex. You've got skin. Summation-wise, I know the Hornby Railmaster software has it built in. I'm sure if JMRI does, though. I expect JMRI does. If you don't like KDs, you could always use Spratt and Winkle types. That's true. There is a P4 layout I help operate that uses... I'm not sure if it is Spratt and Winkle's actually saying that, so I'm going to stop there because it might not be. She's automated coupling, just a modern image or a push pull. Well, that's true, but good stock, Linny. Your Red 4 1 do better. Generally, though, nah, that won't. It would also not be very good for a Titfield range, the four-wheel one. Not everything is Thomas. They do until a giant hand from the sky to uncouple the wagons. I mean, how did they uncouple them in real life? That they didn't automatically uncouple in real life, did they? There had to be a hand come and do it with a shunter's pole. And yes, I do have a scale shunter's pole. Automation seems like needless complication on any small layout. It's certainly on South Park Quarry it would be. I do kind of like the idea of having a model of a terminus like upfield with a train off scene that rolls into the station whenever there's a train at the real station. That's an interesting one. Maybe display board to show services. Yeah, might be doing. If it's anything other than Sprat and Winkles, it's AJ's actually. I'm not very good with names of with what all these different couplers are. Get desktop live departure boards. Can't remember who does them now, so that's suggesting. Revolve club layout using Sprat and Winkle type couplings. They're fairly unobtrusive. They're very spindly, but they take more work than KD's. See, the fact they take more work wouldn't bother me. You might have noticed I'm not one to shy away from having to do a bit of work to make my model railway how I want it. Seen them very nice. They are as automatable as KD's. I mean, that is a good plus. Small hands from the floor, not big hands from the sky. Still hands, though. They are still hands. So hands in scale with the wagons. Nah. Automation may be a bit much for true delineators. So Sprat and Winkle couplings are very spindly upside down tension locks. Oh yes, I know the ones you mean now. Phil Parker said Sprat and Winkle Mark 1 was the ideal exhibition friendly couplings. I remember that interview. Yes, I recall there was some podcast that he said that on in an interview. Can't think what it's called now though, Corbs. Guess you're not mind about the work involved in Sprat and Winkle couplings. Yeah, well, especially when it's a case of like you have to set something up and then treat it nicely with a small amount of maintenance. That sort of stuff really doesn't bother me. Hand of God is a very minor issue in the hobby in the grand scheme of things. It's certainly not worth the extra effort unless the wagons will be hard to reach. I agree. Shame you're not part of the team building club layout on which I'm working, although it's probably not pre-grouping enough for you. The layout I work on at club is 1950s, James. Hans is his Fritz. Long plug. Yeah. The plug was good. It was correct. It was on topic. They need some metal bending and soldering. Yeah, easy. So on his 50s, 60s, we have diesels. I have diesels. I did a video about... Actually, I've done a video featuring diesels. I don't think I've done one of my diesels yet. 10 minutes to go. Got any buffers? Yes, but I don't know where they are. They're in one of my drawers. You see the problem here. Plan on having 3 periods, I'm contemplating having E2 for the earliest period. Yeah, E2. The earliest period being the early 50s. I mean, I did used to model the late 50s. Acquired several BR class 15s for the later period. Yep, fair enough. There we go, it's finally clean. E2s do not work cross-London transfer freights. Did they? I did not know that. Although I don't know much of their workings outside the docks and the services that ran by me. Relevant LBSC locomotive, indeed. I knew they did empty coaching stock for... I want to say somewhere near Battersea they did empty coaching stock. but I'm not sure. Hydration is important. He's GCL Parker 240. I'm sure it's some of their work across London freights. They may well have done. It's the sort of work they were designed for, I believe. It was freights over that distance and branch passenger, which they couldn't do. It's probably the only LBSC locomotive that could be justified on East London docks layout in the 50s. Well, you best have one then. Find it hard to believe the E2s were ever useful. Sure, GCR2 for Rose was a delight too. I'm sure it was. Might as well curve the roof for entry. They didn't have much in the way of bunker capacity, so they couldn't go far. Exactly, and they tried to fix that issue by increasing the size of the tanks. I don't know how they intended for that to fix the issue, but it's what they did. I want to go with that, Lily, and curve the roof for the end of stream photo. But I can't find my thing that I curved them on. The bit of brass that you left here. It's in here somewhere. That's assuming I can get the theft kits anymore. Oh, well. Just have to give Squires some time. I'm sure they'll catch up with anything. I would say you can't beat a good E2, but I don't fancy having that debate. You can beat an E2, a good E2. Actually, no, you're right. You're right, Thomas. You can't beat a good E2 because that would require there being a good E2. I think that was fixing separate lack of tank capacity issue. Yeah, but it didn't even fix that. Because it didn't add much water. Ultimately, they were generally unsuccessful locomotives, but they were used on lesser services for a number of years, so cannot have been entirely useless. I mean, you make a good point. But they're not like Terriers that were still doing their jobs, not saying they're designed for jobs 90 years later. That's still too big. I wish I had that. I wish I'd put that bit of brass somewhere more obvious now. Have I got a heavy tub? Because if I've got a heavy tub, it's in that. I'm quite sure it was in the one with all my soldering stuff, but my soldering stuff is out, so it's not in there anymore. It's in one of these boxes around here. There's so many of them. More than one of those lesser services, then that's a good reason to have one. It is, you're quite right. The A1s were much more successful, but they did different things. But, well, yes. There was a good reason I bought up the A1s. Got a broomstick or similar. No. I would have, but no, I don't. We're getting somewhere close. It's certainly curvy. One certainly can't justify an A1 on an East London dock layout in the 50s. I'm sure you could try. No, you're not in that box. You're definitely not in that box. I know what's in that one. I think this is kind of flat in the grabby bit. To be honest, these don't even look that nice. Not one of Brighton's finest moments all round. I don't think their looks are bad. They're a nice big chunky tank engine. I do like that. They look better than the Midland flat iron on the 850. Certainly looked better than a flat iron, yeah. There we go. From the East Coast mainline. Do like large tanks such as the i3? Indeed. And for a small tank, the E2 is a big tank. Late night stream. Well, we're just about to finish actually, Starkiller. How are you? I hope you are well. E2 is just Ginty gone wrong, but with flair at the end of the day. No, they're not. Not in the slightest. You could glaze it, yeah. Not in 2 minutes, I couldn't. There we go. Am I going to have to put the paper behind here to get it to focus again? Now I've got to realign it for blooming light. Grr. There we go, that'll do. I'm not wrong in thinking she's gone all dark, am I? Or is that just where I've got the light shining on me that I can't see? But I swear she looked, yeah, she looks better like that. So that's going to have to stay out. The camera doesn't like that for some reason. You're right, James, yes. Right, now let me catch up with chat after doing that. E2's bigger than Ginty's, rather less successful. Indeed, let's bring it as well. Like the NRJ50 horse was much less successful. Paper's focus looking at Gary, thank you, Andy. Ginty's were excellent. They were hard detail indeed. Top knots, French Star Killer. With some flaws, yes, they were generally very successful. What they were designed for. I was just making jokes as if you do the post breakfast thing to an E2. They look Ginty-esque. No. It's gone dark because your camera's meter is looking at all the white paper and getting confused. You're right. Yes, definitely. No, you've got lots of white cameras adjusting for brighter background. Indeed. You need to add exposure compensation. What Jane said. Ideally, you have exposure compensation setting available to join the stream. Well, yes, that is something I will have to. I mean, I think I have access to it now. I just don't know where it is. I will have to learn that. So, yes, as Thomas points out, it is pumpkin time. It is midnight. We have closed out on 2 years of Let's Build. It feels incredible that we have been at this for this long and we are still going strong. Hopefully for next week, all the many things I have ordered will arrive. It's not just stuff for the stream that I've ordered that hasn't arrived either. I've got loads of books I'm waiting for that are just listed on Amazon as it's delayed. It's really helpful of them. But yeah, so 2 years you've stuck by me and I really appreciate it. There are even people here who have been here for every one of those live streams over 2 years. And I thank you all. We've built a wonderful community in that time. And it's been incredible. I never would have guessed when I started this that it would have become what it has over 2 years. So, yes, thank you everyone for being here. That means it's been about 3 to 4 weeks. You're here now though, Matt. That's what matters. When I started, I thought it was going to last a couple of weeks and no one would watch. And it would end forever. Not that we'd get 2 years down the line and we'd have a Discord server that's as active as it is. People with mugs with things I say on them. It's been incredible, and here's to the next 2 years. Thank you for hosting it all this time. Thank you, Linny. It has been great to have you as a guest, and I can't wait to do it again. That's right, glad I got this one since a milestone one. But railway modelling is a joy. It is indeed, James. 2 years, I remember reaching the first anniversary. So the first anniversary, we started building this. This started on the first anniversary. Second most popular hobby in the UK. Deserves to be the first, let's be honest. Was for long-lasting streams. Indeed, Alex. Mugs all over the world. Yes, Andy, indeed. Now I can be rubbish at catching them. Well, catch more. Go watch them all back. Gosh, I remember watching the live stream with that. Yeah, that was a year ago. I should have bought the brake van out for the display, shouldn't I, that we built. That was the first one. Fishing is the first, I believe. Yeah, I believe you're right. That is a fact that I was aware of. For railway modelling, fishing probably tedious and chilly. I agree, James. My memory, we started that last month. If only. No, that was a year ago we started that. Just get tinned tuna. Exactly, James. That's how I prefer to get my tuna as well. It's much easier. So yes, thank you everyone for sticking with us for 2 years. It's been absolutely amazing. Here's the next 2 years. Watch the channel grow even bigger. We're approaching 400 subscribers now. I never thought I would be able to say that. It's incredible. Big giveaway coming at 500 if we can get there. So go push that. But yes. And so all that's left to say is thank you for coming. I've had a wonderful time. I hope you have too. I've been Gary. This has been Let's Build. You've been absolutely awesome. Good night.